The moment Meghan Markle's glossy People magazine cover exploded onto newsstands, royal watchers didn't just see another celebrity interview, they saw a calculated strike aimed directly at King Charles and Prince William during one of the most symbolically important weeks for the monarchy. The timing was too precise, too surgical, too loaded with meaning to be accidental. And now insiders, commentators, and royal analysts are openly asking the question palace aides reportedly whispered behind closed doors the second the cover dropped: was this an orchestrated attempt to hijack the royal spotlight at the exact moment the monarchy needed unity the most? And the cover arrived on the third day of King Charles's high-profile United States state visit, while the royal institution was already balancing diplomatic optics, international media pressure, and public scrutiny surrounding Charles's health. But that was not the only coincidence raising eyebrows. The release also collided directly with the wedding anniversary of Prince William and Princess Catherine, a date emotionally treasured by royal supporters who still view the Wills family as the future stability of the crown. Suddenly, the narrative online shifted. Instead of headlines celebrating Charles's diplomatic performance or William and Catherine's enduring image, social media became flooded with debates about Harry and Meghan again. Critics immediately noticed the pattern. Royal commentators argued this was not random publicity scheduling. People magazine covers are organized weeks ahead. Public relations teams know exactly what other events are happening, which means someone, somewhere, approved this collision course anyway. The deeper investigators looked into the article itself, the stranger the messaging became. Several lines inside the feature appeared almost unnervingly specific, like direct rebuttals to criticism Meghan and Harry had recently received from independent royal commentators. One sentence claiming Meghan lets Harry lead on royal matters immediately triggered suspicion because it directly mirrored recent commentary accusing Meghan of controlling the couple's public image and commercial decisions. Suddenly, it looked less like a magazine profile and more like a strategic counterattack disguised as a human interest story. Analysts claimed the Sussex camp had been silently monitoring criticism for months and had now decided to push back publicly through a friendly media channel instead of ignoring the noise. Then came the Queen Elizabeth angle, and this is where the controversy exploded into something far darker. The article attempted to frame Harry and Meghan's relationship with the late Queen as warm, understood, and supported, almost suggesting she privately approved of their modernized vision of royal life. But critics immediately pointed toward the public record. The Queen herself had clearly stated after the Sandringham summit that a half-in, half-out royal arrangement was incompatible with public service. She gave the Sussexes a grace period. Then they officially chose full commercial independence. Yet now, years later, with the Queen no longer alive to clarify her position, new narratives are emerging that completely reshape the historical memory of those events. That accusation alone triggered outrage among royal loyalists who viewed it as rewriting history after the one person capable of correcting the record had passed away. And while the media war surrounding Meghan intensified, another revelation from the same broadcast quietly changed the entire emotional tone surrounding King Charles. Sources allegedly close to Charles's medical circle claimed the king had been responding positively to an advanced immunotherapy treatment program involving cutting-edge urna-based technology combined with radiotherapy. Suddenly, Charles's exhausting Washington state visit looked completely different. Observers realized this was not the behavior of a collapsing monarch preparing to hand over the throne imminently. This was a king deliberately projecting strength while undergoing aggressive treatment behind the scenes. Analysts began whispering something the Sussex camp may not have expected: Charles's reign could last significantly longer than critics initially predicted. And if that happens, the Sussex strategy of waiting out the monarchy becomes infinitely more complicated. The implication sent shockwaves through royal commentary circles, because for years there has been an assumption floating quietly beneath Hollywood deals, interviews, memoirs, and Netflix productions. The idea that Harry and Meghan simply needed to survive long enough for Prince William eventually to inherit the throne. But Charles remaining operationally strong changes everything. Suddenly, the long game becomes longer, more expensive, more exhausting, and perhaps more desperate. Analysts now argue the Sussex commercial machine appears trapped in an endless cycle of attention-seeking because attention itself has become oxygen for the brand. Every cover, every podcast leak, every mysterious source close to the couple, every dramatic appearance. The pressure never stops because financially and culturally, the Sussex operation cannot afford silence anymore. Then came the Bondi Beach controversy, a moment critics described as one of the most bizarre public relations disasters of Meghan's post-royal era. Meghan reportedly wore a blue-striped shirt during a memorial appearance connected to victims of a tragic attack. track, only for viewers online to point out uncomfortable visual similarities between the outfit and Holocaust-era concentration camp uniforms. The situation became even more explosive when the same outfit appeared commercially promoted through a fashion platform almost immediately afterward. Royal commentators were horrified. Was it ignorance? Was it carelessness? Or had commercial branding become so deeply embedded into every Sussex appearance that the deeper this entire saga goes, the more it starts looking less like a royal disagreement and more like two completely different survival strategies colliding in public view? On one side stands the monarchy playing what insiders call the long patience game, staying silent, avoiding emotional public retaliation, and allowing time itself to expose contradictions. On the other side stands the Sussex operation, moving faster and louder with every passing month, flooding the media ecosystem with interviews, emotional statements, commercial launches, soft-focus magazine covers, back-channel leaks, and carefully timed public appearances that critics say increasingly resemble a non-stop reality show built around royal association. And according to several commentators, that pressure is now becoming visible in ways the Sussex camp can no longer fully hide. One of the most explosive details discussed involved the bizarre stream of overlapping Sussex-related publicity drops happening almost daily. Commentators listed them one after another like pieces of evidence in a giant behavioral pattern: the People magazine cover, the Australian Women's Weekly interview, the astrology-themed branding, the one-off fashion commercialization strategy, handwritten networking attempts allegedly routed through celebrity circles, ghost-written tributes, emotional sources close to the couple, and sudden appearances that always seemed perfectly designed to reclaim attention whenever royal momentum shifted elsewhere. Separately, each story might seem harmless. Together, they created a much darker impression: a household allegedly operating in permanent crisis management mode, unable to stop generating headlines because silence itself has become financially dangerous. And that's where the conversation turned brutally personal. Critics began openly questioning whether Meghan's greatest strength, her relentless ambition, had slowly transformed into the very thing destabilizing the Sussex brand. Several commentators argued Meghan entered royal life with extraordinary strategic intelligence. They pointed to her networking in Toronto society during the suit's years, her understanding of Commonwealth social circles, and her ability to position herself near the orbit of Prince Harry long before their relationship became public. Even critics admitted the social climb itself was brilliantly executed. But according to royal analysts, the problem came afterward. They claimed Meghan succeeded in entering the structure yet failed to adapt to the discipline required to survive inside it. Then came one of the harshest observations of the entire discussion: the accusation that Meghan allegedly refuses to listen to experienced advisors because she believes she already knows better. That claim hit especially hard because it connected directly to the repeated commercial and public relations missteps surrounding the Sussex operation. Critics argued that normal corporate teams would never allow some of these controversies to happen: the Bondi Beach outfit backlash, the endless contradictions surrounding titles, the repeated insistence that titles supposedly do not matter while simultaneously using those exact titles as the center of commercial branding. The audience notices these contradictions instantly, and according to commentators, the public has now reached the point where it interprets nearly every Sussex statement through a lens of skepticism first rather than sympathy first. The discussion surrounding royal titles became especially damaging because it exposed what critics believe is the central contradiction at the heart of the Sussex brand. Publicly, Harry and Meghan's allies often imply that modern influence, humanitarian work, and celebrity impact matter more than outdated aristocratic labels. But privately and commercially, the Sussex brand allegedly depends completely on those labels: the Duchess title, the royal connection, the monarchy itself. Analysts argued that if titles genuinely meant nothing, surrendering them would be easy. Yet year after year, the titles remain protected like priceless corporate trademarks. That contradiction, commentators warned, may be permanently eroding public trust. What made everything even more unsettling was the growing sense that Hollywood itself may be quietly losing patience. Poll numbers continued sliding. American comedy shows became more openly hostile. Satirical sketches once considered impossible were suddenly becoming mainstream. Critics claimed the cultural permission structure had changed, meaning public ridicule of Harry and Meghan was no longer taboo in elite entertainment circles. That shift matters because celebrity branding survives on perception, and once mockery replaces mystique, recovery becomes brutally difficult. The royal institution, meanwhile, simply keeps waiting, watching, allowing the public record to build itself without direct intervention. And hovering above all of it is King Charles himself, still standing, still traveling, still performing state duties while undergoing treatment that insiders insiders describe as surprisingly effective. That reality changes the emotional mathematics of the entire royal power struggle. Because as long as Charles remains operationally active, the Sussex household remains trapped in an extended waiting game with no guaranteed ending. Every additional year means more financial pressure, more branding fatigue, more public scrutiny, and more desperation for relevance. The monarchy understands this. The commentators understand this. Even some former Sussex supporters are beginning to understand it, which is why the final image emerging from this entire controversy feels so haunting. A royal institution surviving through silence while a rival media empire grows louder and more frantic by the day, desperately trying to control a narrative that may already be slipping permanently out of its hands.